we started this film, the prep for this film, 10 weeks before the first day of shoot. And I met Angelina like 8 weeks before the shoot, and we started from scratch. And everyone expected one costume because everyone remembers the animated character, and we created 8. And it was blood, sweat and tears, I have to say, and I had a lot of help we created Team Maleficent, because it's a huge movie apart from her costume. The whole background had to be created too, and 2 different worlds, and one fairyland with the kingdom and a human kingdom. So we created a special group of people that just did Maleficent costumes, and they were led by my associate costume designer, Jane Clive, and with a lot of young people that experimented with our costumes, like with the millinery, with shoes, with the leather elements. It was going to the dark side when they started, and they helped me a lot. I think a bad person never looked so beautiful before. She looks absolutely amazing.
Did she have any input into her costumes?
Big one. As I said, 150% of Angelina was there involved in creation of the designs. It is practically almost creating the identical silhouette from the animated. The technical details were more difficult because I wanted very sculptured silhouette, but very slim silhouette. So it's like a dress with the bat wings attached and with a long train. And weighting down the train and making the costume behave like it should, because it's a lot of little pleated black fabric, meters of it, and it took weeks to make, weeks and nights, day and nights to make and adjust and achieve the final look.
Of course, around Angelina, there's a fantastic array of other characters, other costumes. I mean, particularly people like Elle and Sam. Can you talk a little bit about perfecting their look?
Well, with Elle, there were very innocent costumes. Aurora is the girl who lives in the forest, who never seen human being. Is just surrounded by these 3 strange funny fairies. So the prince is the first human being she met, so that's incredible. Thinking of her lines with her long hair, I thought of Ophelia. That was my inspiration, creating something like light, almost. You know, it's such a contrast to Angelina's character. Deval, I wanted him to look like a rock star, because of course Raven is black, so his clothes should be black, and he was supposed to be covered in feathers. That's how they imagined, that was the first concept, and of course it didn't work in the end. So like a week before we shot, they said, dress him Anna, invent the costume. And we really panicked, and we thought, okay, let's go for like cross between a pirate and a rock star. High boots, leather trousers, frock coat, open black shirt. Here we are.
Is there a particular sequence in the film where you think the costumes really look their best? Is there a scene where you watch the film and you feel most proud of your work on screen?
Incredible. I haven't seen the movie, but I think the christening scene is quite impressive. I love that, and a lot of work went into it because we had to create the whole court of King Stephen, which is different from the court of, and for example, that was funny moment, we wanted to do like foreign dignitaries arriving, and I was dressing Pax and Zahara as one of the foreign people arriving, and the nannies, so they are kind of ethnic costumes, and they were. You will see the film. That scene is quite impressive when it comes to costumes, I have to say.
Obviously, you mentioned earlier on that Angelina was very involved in her own costumes. What do you think, though, makes her such an extraordinary performer? What's her magic?
I think her magic is that she gives herself to this character fully. She really was the character, which sometimes I have to say was rather difficult. And she's extremely intelligent and hard-working actress. And I think people don't realize that she's not only beautiful, but she's also very incredibly intelligent actress. And that helps her to win on every front.
Obviously, I mean, these are costumes that not only have to look good, but they also have to be practical for a lot of the action scenes. Were there any specific challenges you faced making the costumes work?
The last costume, the leather costume, like all-in-one costume in leather, for the fight we had to make about 25 costumes for that sequence. And of course they broke, they were exposed to fire, so they had to be fireproof. They had to be. It was amazing. People don't realize that the costume and stunts don't go together, and sometimes you have to sacrifice beauty of the costume for practicalities of the action movie.
My final question, obviously the original film is such a beautiful piece of work. What do you think it is about the look of that film, and particularly in terms of the costume design and the colour palette, that makes it so iconic, so visceral, so memorable?
It's this magic that is very difficult to put the finger on. You just meeting somebody else created such a long time ago, and it stays in your memory. And I think everyone as a child has seen Sleeping Beauty, and everyone remembers Maleficent. So that was the challenge of this movie, bringing this animated version to life and keep the magic on.